She's a winner.
And welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where you take enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show down here in sunny South Florida, where we say, if you have a little bit of courage, and I know you do, and you hire a good coach like me, we're going to take you from where you are to where you really want to be, faster and easier. Now, those of you who follow my show know what? I'm your weather girl. Take a look at the weather out here behind me. Actually, it's not too sunny right now. It's cloudy. We've got a nice breeze today. We've had some rain off and on with the storm that apparently is now turning into a hurricane that's coming off of Cuba. I briefly saw a news flash on my phone that it's turning into a Category 3 hurricane. I don't think it's going to hit South Florida. I think it's going to go to Louisiana, so I'm going to check on my good friends over there. So I'm going to go over here to the comments. You know I'm your weather girl, so what do I like for you to tell me? Where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are. And let me know if you're like the rest of us and you've had the flu that's going around. It's either the flu or it's a really bad cold. So please forgive my congestion that I sound, but I feel pretty good, much better than I did. I actually just came out of listening to a multi-million-dollar coach. She's been in the business a long time, and she was talking about 14 ways to make money from an event, from putting on events. And it was quite fascinating. In the beginning, she said, put it in the chat. What is Apple known for? They're known for technology, right? And then she says, this is not political, but what is Trump known for? And he's known for business and real estate, right? You can say whatever else you want to say about him, but she's putting this in a marketing context. We stuck to marketing. And then what was, the third one she put was the Olympics. What is the Olympics known for? And she said, nope, every one of those are known for their events. Fascinating. Steve Jobs never sold an Apple product without what? Having a big event. And even today, look at all the people that stand in line outside the Apple store when they release something new. Donald Trump, I didn't know this, but 9 years ago when he was, going to run for president, one of the things he did that nobody else had done is he started having all of those rallies where he got people together. She goes, what is a rally? It's a big event. Then she talked about the Olympics. What is it? It's one great big event. It's a bunch of little events on the inside. And one of the things that she said was genius that Donald Trump did was his last rally, if you will, gathering at Madison Square Garden. And she said, that is the creme de la creme. When you ask athletes, when you ask musicians, when you ask comedians, would they like to play Madison Square Garden? They're all like, hell yeah, it's a big deal. So it was kind of interesting. And then she said, the one thing that you get to remember is you must steal the show. Steal the show. And so she actually comes from a theater background, and she actually gets paid to put on events for other people because her events are so successful. So it was actually quite fascinating. She really gave us 14 ways. I did a 21-day summit several years ago when COVID first started, and I'll be candid, I haven't really put on a big event, master classes, webinars, those kind of things. But just learning how you can take that master class, that webinar, and monetize it. You can give it for free, but then how you can later on monetize it into an event. And she talked about both in-person events, because there's a lot of those going on these days. And then she has a huge 3-day virtual event, Take the Stage, next week. So this was a lead into that. But it just made me stop and think. I had a client recently. I spoke to a Platinum VIP group in a live event three weeks ago. And one of the people at the event is a coaching client of mine. And she sent me a private message in the chat on Zoom. It said, Coach Carol, thank you for those empowering questions you gave me. I used them and I closed that client. She was so excited. Now, my first thought was, What compelled her to put that in a private chat and not just shout it out to the group? So when we had our coaching session the following week, I asked her, and it was fascinating to go into this understanding. And it happens more often with women than men, in my experience, every single time. She says, well, I was raised up, that would be braggadocious. That would be boasting. That would be what? What did she say? Taking the spotlight, patting herself on the back. And I countered with, well, it's not boasting if you actually did it. It's a statement of fact. And I started asking her some underlying questions underneath that. And then I challenged her to go into the big group on Tuesday. That would have been 8 days ago. And I said, I don't care if you tell them I put you up to it. This is going to be your first step in gaining confidence because you're in a safe space with that group. It's a great community. And I said, I want you to tell them what you did, what the results were. And I said, I want you to get everybody on the Zoom to pat themselves on the back while you're patting yourself on the back. Because we don't do it often enough. And especially as women, it's like, oh, yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. I actually have a client like that right now. She had a big win. Did you celebrate? No, I just kind of went to the next thing. I was busy. Come on, folks. Just like we teach people how to treat us, we get to tell God and the universe what we like and what we want more of. I teach my clients to do that from a neuro-linguistic programming perspective. What does that mean? I usually only do this with my private clients. I'm being generous today because it's powerful. If you will do this, it is powerful. And then we're going to hop into 2 things today. We're going to learn a little bit from The Last Arrow, phenomenal book, and we're going to tie that in with our Ayanna von Zandt book that we always read from. Guess what? I just lost my train of thought when I went to the books. Who's with me? Put Yana. You're not alone, Carol. I've done that before too. I've done that before as well. Oh yeah, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So this celebration gets to be individual to you, and it gets to be something that you will be willing to do in public. And it must have something verbal, a verbal component so that it's auditory, and it's going to have body movement so that it's kinesthetic. And it comes from a state of the highest gratitude, right? So several years ago, I was having a difficult time staying asleep at night. I'd go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at 1 a.m. I'd go all day. And I kept doing that. And I knew it wasn't healthy, but I couldn't figure out, I wasn't going to take sleeping pills. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, I use this in other areas of my life. I'm going to use my NLP celebration in my sleep pattern to change my sleep. Who believes that's possible? Put it in the chat, right? So I went to bed at 10 o'clock, slept like a tank for 3 hours, got up at 1 a.m. and I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's awesome. I want more of that. Because those 3 hours were good sleep. So I'm telling God and the universe, I'm celebrating, I'm in gratitude, I want more of that. What did I do the next night? I slept 3 hours again. I did the same thing. I kept doing it over and over and over. I now, on average, sleep 7 to 7.5 hours a night. And guess what I do every morning when I wake up? That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want more of that. As a matter of fact, with the whole time zone change, I went to bed so early the other night, I slept 8.5 hours. I haven't done that since I don't even remember when. Folks, it sounds woo-woo. I bet there's somebody out there watching that's not commenting. Or you're watching on hashtag replay and you say, that is so woo-woo. One of the hashtags my past clients gave me was hashtag TSW. So a matter of fact, one of my past clients sent it to me for a Christmas present on a t-shirt. You know what it stands for? This shit works. When you put those empowering questions and the other tools I have and you use it in conjunction, I keep looking up because I look to my higher power. I'm like, that's awesome. I want more of that. True story. I did it this morning. The key is being consistent. That's number one. It's consistent, energetic. Make sure you got some energy behind it. Oftentimes, We're given things that we don't appreciate. It's like, oh, well, guess she doesn't want any more of that. Or we don't show our appreciation. She's kind of disappointed in that. I don't guess I'll give her any more of that. It's so powerful. When I pick up a penny, it can be a nickel, a quarter, whatever it is on the ground. What do you think I do? That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want more like that. So a few years ago, I mapped out my Sunday, and I knew I had about 5 or 6 errands I was going to run. I was early, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I wanted to get home in time. My last stop was supposed to be at Home Depot to pick up fertilizer and stuff so I could plant my flowers and work in the yard. So I get up and I have my coffee and my breakfast, and I had my little list, and I hop in my car and take off. Now, how many of you have just ever gotten in your car and gone somewhere on autopilot? Put that in the comments. Say, you are not alone, Carol, right? And so what did I do? I got in my car and drove straight to Home Depot. Now, years ago, many years ago, I probably would have gotten mad at myself. I can't believe I did this. My gosh, it took all the time to write out a list. Now I've got everything backwards. Now I'm going to have to turn around, blah, 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 right? All this negative crap. No more. I sat at the very end of the parking lot. There's no cars. It's 6:15 on a Sunday morning. Now they're open, but nobody's there. Now, what would most people do? They're going to go park at that spot right by the front door so they don't have to walk very far. Yeah, not me. Didn't feel right. And it's funny, if you've watched enough of these shows, when this show started, when I started running this show 2 years ago, and my technical guru would attest to this, I would say, I didn't even think I had intuition. Oftentimes, I think I didn't recognize it. So there I was sitting in my car, and I asked a couple of empowering questions around this situation. And I paused and I just listened and looked, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go park over there. So I parked about 3/4 of the way out from the door underneath this big oak tree. I opened my car door and I looked down on the ground, because I always look. And there were 2 $20 bills and 2 $5 bills waiting for me at 6:15 on a Sunday morning in the Home Depot parking lot. What do you think I did? That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want more like that. Folks, we get to stay in gratitude. And there's a big difference between gratitude and gratefulness. Gratitude is proactive. I didn't wait until I got 7 or 8 hours of sleep to be in gratitude. I was in gratitude because I slept at all. I'm in gratitude when I pick up a penny. How many of you know who Bill Walton is? Founder of the big multi-billion-dollar corporation, Walmart. Bill Walton was known, even in his late ages, if he saw a penny on the ground, he picked it up. Picked it up. A lot of people have judgment around that. But folks, we get to tell God in the universe what we like, what makes us happy. We want more of that. And we get to remember that gratitude is a choice. It is proactive. Gratefulness is a response. Something has either been done for us or given to us. And so it's not a proactive choice. It's reactive. How many of you operate as much as you can on a daily basis in gratitude? How many of you are willing to call things that aren't as though they are in gratitude, claiming that it's already done? Whew, I may be crazy, but if I am, I'm in really good company, right? They said Martin Luther King was crazy. They said Mother Teresa was crazy. They said Mahatma Gandhi was crazy. If that's crazy, I'm in good company. One of the things I started yesterday morning at 5:30 was a 30-day discipline challenge. It's with the Napoleon Hill Group. Now, I missed day one because I was behind on reading my emails, but I was there yesterday and I was there today at 5:30 a.m. And we spent an hour working. Are you disciplined enough to show up for 30 days when you get tired? Right? Good question. Consistency is so critical. It's so key in everything that we do, in our communication, in our relationships, in our business, in our sales, right? My technical assistant is a guru, and she consistently does a good job. Now, I haven't asked her this, but I bet she consistently learns about and studies technology, right? She hones her craft, what she's good at. We all have the choice to do that. Sometimes we just don't choose, right? We just don't choose. Oh my goodness. Preaching. I'm preaching to the choir. Me. It's been a long time since I brought this book up. The Last Era by Erwin Raphael McManus. Powerful, powerful book. First time I opened this book and began to read it, I had to put it back down. I didn't have to. I chose to. I was trying to read this book and my arms started tingling and it made me uncomfortable. How many of us quit when it gets uncomfortable? I know I'm not alone. I quit. I put the book down. Book sat there for probably 2 months until I was ready to hear, ready to learn, ready to self-examine, because this book will get you to self-examine your life and your choices and your behaviors. And then I was ready. And now I've read it 3 times. And I was going to read it, pick it up over the weekend for a 4th time while I was dog sitting, but I kind of had a relapse of my flu and I didn't do it. You know what I did? I'm all over the place today and I'm having so much fun. I watched several Hallmark Christmas movies. Comment in the chat if you watch Hallmark Christmas movies. How many of you know that you can learn something from a Hallmark Christmas movie if you choose to? So Saturday afternoon, I sat down on the sofa, turned the television on, and this particular Hallmark movie was almost over. It was called Nashville, Christmas in Nashville. That's Nashville, Tennessee, for those of you who are out of the country. And it's the birthplace of country western music. And this young, up-and-coming star, country music star, singer, felt like her life was off the rails. She was rising to stardom so fast. Everything was chaotic to her. She just didn't know if she could handle it. And so as she sits down on a bench in the movie, she sits right next to Winona Judd. Now, those of you who follow country music, she's a very, very famous country music singer. And the young lady says to Winona Judd, "How did you do it? How did you have this massive career and not let it run off the rails into chaos?" Winona Judd looks at her and says a couple of things. First, I'm always particular and in control. Actually, she has said another word and it just escaped me for a minute, but it was basically, I'm set in my ways. That's what she said, number 1. And she said, but here's number 2, and here's the lesson to learn. It's easy to keep a train on the tracks when you're not going very fast. The challenge is you also don't go very far. Let that sink in. How many of us are afraid to get into swift action? Folks, money loves speed. Money loves decisiveness. Money loves intention. Money loves attention. And most of the people that follow me want what? They want to make more money in their business. That's what my clients want. Sell them what they want and give them what they need. Right? So it's easy to keep a train on the tracks if you're not going very fast. The problem is you just don't go very far. How many of us say, I wish I was further along? Or we use that ugly should word to make ourselves wrong. I should be further along. You are right where you're supposed to be based on what? The choices and actions that you have taken, just like me. We can wish things were different, but they're not going to be. They're only going to be different going forward if we do what? Make different decisions and different choices. I'm just going to read a couple of quick things from here. I could spend hours on sharing this book with you. It's amazing. Hold on, I'm coming. Where was it? One of the things that impacted me from here, he says, I have learned that if you live in the past, you die to the future. And so often we're unaware of that. We bemoan and we lament something that we've lost, not realizing that that lost thing made room for something new. It made space for us. Are you willing? Are you willing to let it go? And as I was talking about the train and not going very far, this is the one thing he said that I wanted to say. He asked himself, when I look back, did I really fail? Or did I just quit too soon? And he says this, is it possible that failure is simply the result of giving up too soon? Is it possible that our most tragic failure is that we give up on ourselves? Someone asked me today what my purpose in life was. And I said, it's to restore hope into the lives of others. People who work with me raise up their level of self-awareness. They trust themselves. They have confidence in themselves. They make better decisions. They make more money in their business. But a big piece of all of that is learning to what? Believe in themselves again. How many of you, I know when I first started coaching, I listened to people and I decided to say, do what they said instead of what I wanted to do, even though it was my business, because my brain said, well, they know more than I do. Really? It's my business. It's your business. They might can give you an outline, but if you decide you're going to do something, get into action and do it. I let people talk me out of things. That won't happen again. When I decide I'm going to do it. Have you given up on yourself? Have you given up on the belief that you could have that 6, 7-figure business that you really want so that you can provide for your family? Money's all about expansion, right? My ex used to get mad when we were on a street corner and I'd take money and hand it to somebody who was homeless on the street. They're just going to go buy drugs or something with that. All that judgment coming up, right? My response was, it's not my responsibility to control what they do with it. It's my position. It's my place. It's my pleasure to give. Because in the giving, then we receive. And now every time I hand a dollar, I hand dollars out often, folks. Every time I hand out a dollar and I roll the window up, I say to God, please bless that person a millionfold so they can have a roof over their head and food on their table. And bless it, bring it back to me 10 millionfold so that I can create expansion and help even more people. Folks, we get to be in gratitude when the money goes out, not just when it comes in. What are you in gratitude for? All right, we're going to wind up here with Ayama Van Zandt. Until today, if it's your first time here, we read from this book pretty much every week. I had another Facebook live show that I'm revamping. I did it every Monday for 3 years. And it was interesting when I first started reading from this book and that show, my regulars would show up and say, where's the book? They'd put it in the comments, are you going to read from that book? And it became a staple. What did I learn? Your clients teach you what they want. Sometimes we think we know what a client needs, don't we? You got to sell them what they want and then give them what they need. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, ooh, I think I need to do some personal development work. Come on. They don't say, ooh, I think today I get to up-level my leadership. They get up and they go, no, I want more profit. I want more money in my business. I want more sales. I want to grow. I want recognition. Sell them what they want, folks. Whatever your niche is, then give them what they need once you get them in the door. The theme for November is the greatest service I can offer is being a light on the path. And if we're going to steal the show, we must be bright light. At night, the ocean can be a huge, dark, and scary place. When riding on the seas, You can never know for sure if the water will be calm or turbulent. You never know if you will drift off course or run aground. That is why there are lighthouses. When ships lose their way, they are guided by the lighthouse. When there is trouble or danger at sea, you can seek refuge by the light of the lighthouse. In the midst of a storm, the lighthouse will always guide the ship safely to shore. And best of all, there's always someone in the lighthouse. They don't leave lighthouses empty. She says, be a lighthouse, be a beacon. Let your life be a shining symbol for others. Let everything you do be in service to someone. Stand tall in the knowledge of who you are. Stand proud in the midst of the most difficult times. Be aware that who you are and what you have to offer can be a beacon to some lost soul. I think that's why maybe the Bible tells us to not hide our gifts and our talents under a bush. We got to let the light out so the world can see them and so that we can make an impact on the world. She says also, be a lighthouse keeper. Be on the lookout for lost souls. Be alert to those who may be in need and have nowhere to go or no way to get there. Be a lighthouse to a child, guide a child, protect a child. You don't have to say much. Just let the child know that you are there should a need arise. Be a lighthouse to an elder, someone who has traveled the sea of life but now needs a little warmth and comfort. Perhaps a cup of tea or just some interesting conversation. Be a lighthouse to a young man or woman who has lost their footing or may be losing their direction in life. Remember, no matter what condition a windblown sailor reaches the lighthouse in, the keeper is always welcoming. The keeper always encourages. The keeper always has something on hand or knows what to do to get you up and sailing again. That's one of the things I do, right? Restore hope so they get up and they get sailing again. Until today, you may have been wondering how you can be of greater service to your family, your community, or the world. Just for today, be the keeper of a lighthouse. Today, I'm devoted to shining the light of compassionate support and service on those who may be in need. And so it is. What are you taking a stand for? What are you choosing? What are you claiming in your life? And are you willing to say, you know what? I didn't fail. I just quit too soon. But today I'm going to take that extra step. Today, I'm going to go that extra mile. Because today, even though I may not like the sound of it, I accept that everything I want is on the other side of the work that I'm not willing to do. What is it you have been unwilling to do? Doesn't have to be about business. It can be about your marriage, your relationship with your children, your family. Pick one thing. What one thing? This is a powerful question you could ask yourself every day. Set the intention for what you want the answer for and say, what one thing that I have been unwilling to do, that if I were willing to do it today and you would say in this relationship or in this business or whatever it is, so that it's specific and time bound. What one thing have I been unwilling to do that if I were willing to do it today in this relationship, it would change everything for the better? Write that empowering question down. Remember, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar, and we're all in a jar. These questions bring in new awarenesses into our jar. This has been Carol Boston and the Intuitive Entrepreneur. We're still in the background. We're going to be changing this podcast to Crack Your Code, Reframe Your Life, coming from the queen of reframe. I'm excited and looking forward to the future. I hope you are too. We are almost in the middle of November. Actually, we're in the first week, so we have about 8 weeks left. What one thing are you going to do to make 2024's fourth quarter the best of the year? Go in peace. Make sure you get someone to smile every day. Blessings to each and every one of you. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, your business, your community, your life. Check out the latest issue today at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.